There is an animal at the bottom of the world that science still cannot fully explain. It is 12 feet long. It weighs over 1,200 pounds. It has been here far longer than humans have been watching it, and it is watching you back right now with eyes that reflect light in a way that does not look biological. The leopard seal. Hydrurga leptonix. A name that translates roughly to waterworker with a slender claw, which is polite for what this animal actually is. It looks like someone took a prehistoric marine reptile and then decided to give it the social intelligence of something that should not have social intelligence. Most people encounter the leopard seal first through animated films. Then they learn it is real. Then they learn how big real actually is. People lose their sense of scale with ocean animals. The largest tuna you have ever imagined is larger. The dolphin pods you picture are denser. And the leopard seal, which people assume is a medium-large seal, is not that. It is one of the largest predators in the Southern Ocean. It is longer than most cars. It is wider than most doorways. And it has been found as far from Antarctica as New Zealand, South Africa, and the waters around Australia. There is at least one leopard seal alive right now that is aware of the platypus, and that is a sentence that should sit with you for a moment. The teeth are what most people see first in photographs, and they are the feature that requires the most explanation because they are not what they appear to be. The front teeth are large, pointed, and built for gripping prey. But the inner teeth are something else entirely, interlocking three-pronged structures that function as a biological filter, designed to strain krill from water. The same jaw that terrifies every penguin in Antarctica is also built for filter feeding. The same mouth. Used for both. That is not a detail about an animal that has a simple job. The leopard seal's diet is one of the longest and most varied lists of any apex predator in the Southern Ocean. Krill, which can make up nearly half the annual diet. Fish. Squid. Other seals, including crab-eater seals and fur seals. Sharks, in New Zealand waters. Penguins, for which the leopard seal has developed methods of hunting that go beyond simple predation and into something researchers describe carefully and honestly as play behavior. The leopard seal will surpass the number of penguins it can consume in a single hunting session. It will exhaust penguins and release them. It has been observed handling penguins in ways that carry no nutritional purpose. Scientists do not fully agree on why. The leading interpretation is that young leopard seals practice hunting skills in ways that can appear, to an outside observer, like something other than practice. The orca does not reliably hunt the leopard seal. This is the data point that clarifies the food chain position better than any other. When the apex predator of the open ocean declines to engage with an animal, that animal occupies a specific tier. The leopard seal occupies that tier. Alone. For centuries, explorers wrote about encounters that followed a pattern that still holds today. Ernest Shackleton's expedition records document one of his men being pursued across ice by a leopard seal estimated at 12 feet, which dove back into the water when the man reached safety, then tracked his shadow beneath the ice and ambushed him at the next gap. The man survived only because a crew member intervened. In 1985, Gareth Wood was walking across thin ice when a leopard seal broke through and clamped onto his leg, nearly dragging him under. He survived because companions used boot crampons to force the seal to release. The pattern in both encounters is the same. The leopard seal did not ambush from a stationary position. It adapted mid-encounter. It tracked. It anticipated the prey's next position. That level of real-time tactical adjustment in a hunting context is the behavioral marker researchers use to distinguish reactive predators from predictive ones. The only fatal human encounter in recorded history occurred on July 22, 2003. Kirsty Brown was a 28-year-old marine biologist with the British Antarctic Survey, conducting research near Rothera Research Station. The encounter that followed was unforeseeable by any reasonable standard. No leopard seal had been spotted in the area, no protocol had been violated, and the waters were being used in exactly the way the research required. Kirsty Brown did not survive. The details of the encounter are a matter of official record and have been documented by her colleagues and the rescue team. Her dive computer recovered afterwards showed she had been taken to a depth of 70 meters. The encounter lasted approximately 10 minutes. Eyewitnesses estimated the seal involved was among the largest leopard seals ever observed. Kirsty Brown was 28 years old, experienced in Antarctic fieldwork, and by all accounts was exactly the kind of scientist whose work was making the study of this misunderstood animal better. Her death led to more stringent safety protocols around leopard seal encounters, which many researchers believe may have hindered the study of an animal we already understood very little about. The loss was simultaneous. The scientist, and the access the scientist represented. The most probable explanation for the attack, offered not as excuse but as biological context, is misidentification. Kirsty Brown's black wetsuit and fins in the water would have visually resembled, to an animal hunting by silhouette and movement, the profile of prey. Her size relative to the seal was comparable to prey the seal routinely hunted. Her responses in the water, while entirely reasonable for a human being in crisis, would have matched the behavioral signatures of prey animals. None of this is victim blaming. It is predator biology. The leopard seal did not make a moral decision. It made a predation decision based on the sensory information available to it in that moment. That is the context that matters for understanding this animal. Paul Nicklen is a wildlife photographer who traveled to Antarctica in 2006 specifically to photograph leopard seals. Leopard seals are famously difficult to locate unless you are a leopard seal's preferred prey, in which case they locate you. It was not long before a large female leopard seal was circling Paul's boat. Females are the larger sex in this species. Paul made the decision to enter the water. What happened over the following 4 days became one of the most documented human-wildlife behavioral encounters in polar research history. The female leopard seal did not attack Paul. She circled him, approached to within camera distance, and then examined her own reflection in his camera lens. After that first day, she returned each time Paul entered the water. And on the second day, she brought a live penguin. When Paul did not respond to the offering, she brought another. Over the course of 4 days, she made multiple trips, each time returning with penguins in various states, some unhurt, some exhausted, some partially consumed. At one point Paul was surrounded by 5 penguins she had delivered. The female seemed, in the words of Paul himself and the researchers who reviewed his footage, genuinely confused by Paul's failure to eat. She was, as best science can interpret, attempting to teach him how to feed. To provision him. This behavior, a wild predator bringing food to a non-related, non-conspecific individual and appearing to assess whether the recipient needed further instruction, has a very short list of parallels in the animal kingdom. Orca populations that historically hunted alongside human whalers represent one. This is not a story about a friendly seal. It is a story about an animal intelligent enough to categorize a new kind of creature it had never encountered, to conclude that the creature might be incompetent at surviving, and to attempt to address that problem. That is a cognitive sequence most animals are not capable of. Leopard seals sing. This is not a metaphor or a simplification. Male leopard seals produce vocalizations that researchers studying the acoustic structure of the songs found to be sequenced and patterned in ways that strongly parallel human nursery rhymes. Repetitive structured sequences with consistent internal rhythm. The songs are used in the mating context, males sing, females in reproductive condition respond with their own vocalizations. But the structural complexity goes beyond what simple mate attraction signaling would require. There is more information in these songs than the delivery mechanism needs. Casey was a male leopard seal discovered as a pup on a beach in Guatemala in 2007, injured and emaciated. He was taken to Taronga Zoo in Sydney, where he joined 2 female leopard seals. The hope was that as Casey matured, breeding might occur, the first documented leopard seal birth in captivity. There was a problem. Casey had been found as a pup and had never been in the presence of adult male leopard seals during the period when male pups learn their songs. He did not have a song. Zoo staff played recordings of adult male leopard seal vocalizations for Casey over months. They played saxophone. Casey showed interest. Over time, Casey began producing his own vocalizations, his song developing slowly, imperfectly, but developing. Both female leopard seals died of illness before Casey had the opportunity to use his song in the context it was designed for. Casey died in 2014 after a prolonged illness, euthanized humanely by the zoo's veterinary staff. He was the last leopard seal ever held in captivity, and he died having learned his song too late to use it. The leopard seal is 12 feet long, capable of complex tactical hunting, demonstrably capable of mourning its young, demonstrably capable of attempting to provision a species it had never encountered before, capable of learning songs from recordings, and deeply resistant to captivity in ways that have prevented the kind of sustained study that would let us understand what is actually happening inside that enormous head. We do not know the leopard seal. We know the outline of it. The inside is still largely dark. Which means every conclusion we have drawn about whether this animal is a threat or a curiosity or something else entirely is based on incomplete information. And in wildlife science, as in most fields, incomplete information has a consistent track record of producing wrong conclusions. The leopard seal has been here for millions of years. It will be here after our current understanding of it has been revised. It will still be watching from just below the ice when it is.